May Elohim bless you guys. Today is May 14 of 2020. I had a dream today that I would like to share with you all. This dream is in regards to the 144,000. What I'm about to share with you might be out there in some ways, but this dream, guys, was very different from my other dreams that I typically have. And this dream that I'm sharing is regarding the 144,000, but I feel like when you hear this dream, I mean, many can, I think it can be encouraging to others as well. Though this dream was very personal, it was very personal, but I know that even though it's personal, at the same time, I can see how this dream can be encouraging to others. The dream that I had today, guys, before I had a particular dream that I'm going to share with you all, I remember just going through a lot of dreams of battling, a lot of battle dreams, but I cannot recall what the battles were, but just a lot of spiritual warfare. Then I woke up, and when I woke up, I went back to sleep. And now when I go back to sleep, I find myself again in a spiritual warfare where I see a lot of evil attacks. I couldn't explain what they were, so I created these circles and I wrote down, enemy, trials of many kinds, evil things attacking. But I could not recall what they were in that, when I was there, it was just think of you're seeing like a movie that's very hazy. Everything is kind of slightly cloudy. Even though I'm seeing all these things happening, I remember standing in a very serious and a very demanding position and saying, I rebuke you in the name of Adonai Yahusha HaMashiach. And I remember saying that name with authority, over and over and over again as these attacks came one after another. But I noticed that as I brought my hands up and I rebuked it in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, they would just vanish. And then another attack will come right after that one. And then after that one, another one. And so I found myself surrounded by all these different attacks of different kinds of life trials and events and just so many things. If I was seeing seeing going through a movie, scenarios after scenarios, then all of a sudden it stops and I find myself here. I find myself in a place where time does not exist. I know this, I can feel this within me, that I'm in a place where time does not exist. I'm out of time itself. In a different environment where I can't explain it, but I can feel it around me. I'm in a place where time does not exist. As I look at my surroundings, I remember what looked to be kind of like a place that looked like a barn. And I remember that I saw people lined up. And as I see them lined up, they're in this attention position. Then I see people wearing armor. They were wearing an armor. This is me right here. I appeared, boom, right in this position. And these people here, they were sitting down. I saw a table in front of them. I saw swords, and there were other stuff going on the table. I can't recall. I remember that these ladies, they were wearing an armor. And I remember that they had swords as well, except for this one. I remember that as I was here and I saw these people in attention position, I remember they were not wearing an armor yet, just like I wasn't wearing an armor yet. But suddenly, all this that you see here, I made lines because I was trying to express a place of a dimension of a place of no time existent. It's like my eyesight in this place was not clear, even though I could see it, but yet things here was blurry. Everything was blurry towards the outside. Everything was blurred out. But I could see me here. I could see myself in this barn, or like this farm, like farmish of a place. It was a wood table, and I saw these women there sitting. It was a very intense of a dream that to me it was like a vision, like if I was seeing a vision of something. I remember that I saw these women. I saw a woman here, and I saw another person here. And I remember that as I walked over here, she looked familiar, like her face was very familiar, like I seen her before. But when she spoke and she said the word, "I have marked you. I have marked you." I knew that when she said that, I knew what she meant. That the Father has marked me. He has marked me. That I'm His. I remember that when she said that, when she said those words, "I have marked you," all of a sudden this rush, this feeling, this download of this voice of like the Father saying, and this is the thing, all of a sudden my mouth opens up, and I know it's not me. It's like within me, I open my mouth, and what I start to say is, "You are mine. You are mine." I felt like this wasn't me. I felt the Father's voice. I heard the shepherd's voice. "You are mine." And as though I was saying it, like it was coming out of my mouth, those words. I knew those words were not my words, but His. And suddenly, like, my voice changed, and it was making the sound of a sheep. It was making the sound of a sheep. And I understood that I was His flock. I was His flock. And the people that I saw lined up, that they were just like me, all of a sudden I started seeing them as sheeps. I saw them as sheep. And I had this image seeing them as sheep. And at the same time that I was viewing them as sheep, I had this feeling that this download of words saying to me, "I have gathered you. Then I saw these 3 women and a table in front of them. The table seemed like it was made out of wood of some kind. They were sitting. They were kind. These women were wearing armor, like metal armors. I remember that the woman in the middle, she was speaking. She was saying something important. She was talking about things that we will be going against. They were like if they were preparing us, organizing us to what was going to unfold. And she kept talking. And I tried so hard to listen to what she was saying. Then, as she kept speaking and I got close to her, trying to focus into what she is saying, trying not to forget but to concentrating on remembering what she said. Suddenly, as she was speaking, I got distracted by her crest that was on her armor. She had a crest, and the crest looked similar to this. It had a shield, and it had 2 swords crossing each other, and around it, it was saying words of infinity, and it had more words going around, and it had more little detail, but I couldn't remember. I couldn't absorb that information. I just remember that this word infinity, it was so strong within my spirit that I knew that, again, the place where I was, it was a place where time did not exist. Guys, God, He is omnipresent. He is the Omega. He is the beginning and the end. He is everything. He is out of time. And if you guys can understand that, like, He is infinite. Everything, every cell, everything living, everything moving, everything belongs to Him. Everything, every single thing. I remember this word infinity, this crest, these people talking about. I remember that this lady at the end, she said, I remember they didn't see a sword with her, as I saw the other 2 had a sword literally on them, on their armor. They had a sword, and this lady didn't. She was talking about how war, it's been a war that's been since the beginning of some sort. She was talking about a war that it's a war that we will be fighting, that is been a long ago war. And she was just talking about these things that we will come against. As she kept speaking and talking, it was so interesting, it's so important. But as I woke up, I couldn't remember it. But I remember that while she was speaking and talking in regards to the thing that we will come against, I remember grabbing a sword. And I remember that as I grabbed the sword, I instead of waving it, I remember that even though the sword looked heavy, when I grabbed it, it was not heavy at all. It didn't even weigh anything. I grabbed it like grabbing a pencil. And I remember that I moved that sword like if I knew if I knew how to draw a sword, how to work with the sword. I remember having this urgency of this readiness of learning, this readiness of let's do this. because I felt like the place where I was a place of practice, a place of learning, a place of preparing. It was a place where time did not exist at all, and yet we were there. And I say we because it was not just me. I knew that it was the gathering of the 144,000. Being in a place where time itself did not exist, like time itself, like if time stopped for us, like if we were in a dimension or in a place, like if we were in a place where time did not exist, how can you explain something like that? I can't explain something that I could feel, I could absorb, but my comprehension, my understanding could not comprehend the magnitude of this. All I knew was that I was marked, I was gathered, and I belonged to Him. And we were preparing for something that was going to come. I remember the crest and the armor. It said infinity. I knew who this crest represented. It represented the Father, who was infinite. Everything belongs to Him. Everything belongs to Him. He is the creator of heaven and earth. Everything belongs to Him. I felt eager and ready. And I woke up. As I woke up in a moment of, this might sound out there again, but guys, when I looked at the time, an hour has not even passed. This dream felt so long that it felt like I was in there for hours, yet I was only in there like 35 minutes. And when I woke up, I felt like so energized. I felt rested. I felt so rested. I felt good. And I kept thinking, how strange. I went to sleep tired, yet I woke up in 35 minutes. And I woke up with energized, not tired. An unexplainable thing. A place where time does not exist. A place where time did not exist. I wanted to share this with you guys because even though this was very personal, very, very deep and personal towards me, this could bring understanding somehow to others. The 144,000 will be gathered soon. And it seems like we'll be put in a place, or we'll be in a place where time doesn't exist. We'll be practicing and preparing what they're going to be up against. Again, I heard the shepherd's voice. You are mine. And also saying, I have gathered you. Change is coming. Change is coming. And we must be ready. We must have a humbling heart. We must seek him in all thy ways. In all thy ways. And not get caught up in this world. For we are not from this world, but simply passing through. Being a bright light to the darkness of this world. Being a bright light. I wanted to share this dream, guys, that I had today. Even though as I speak to you about it, it seemed like it was quick, but it didn't feel like that when I was in there. It was very different from my other dreams. The way it was, the way it moved. Yes, like if even the dream had like a movement, expression, it's like everything was alive. Like I don't know how to explain it. Again, a place where time does not exist. And then being in a place of a barn, of a farm. Again, it reminds me of Yahusha HaMashiach. When he came into this world, he came in a place where it was so humbling, and he started off in a place like this. A humbling place, a humbling place. And then there were sheeps, like gathering sheeps into the barn, showing that we presented sheeps, represented the flock. And we are the flock of Yahusha HaMashiach. And he was gathering his flock into the barn by taking us out of whatever it was and placing us in a place where time doesn't even exist, to prepare us for the next stage. And then this woman that looked familiar says to me as she saw me with an authority and says, I have marked you. It says it again, I have marked you, making sure that I grasp that information. The 144,000 will be gathered. Those of you that have a lot of questions in regards to 144,000, definitely do your research. Seek the Father on it. Many have there's so many different things out there. Seek the Father on questions and things regarding the 144,000. Seek him in regards to this. Read his scripture. Remember that when you're reading the scripture, many things are symbolical to something. The word is spiritual. Sometimes you see something solid and it doesn't necessarily mean that particular thing, but it's describing something. Like for instance, he was showing me that I was a sheep. I was his flock. He was not telling me that I was an actual sheep, but a representation of a shepherd taking care of his flock of a sheep. Those who have ears to listen, please listen to what I'm saying. Seek the Father in understanding and gathering wisdom. If you're trying to learn more in regards to the 144,000, if it's his will for you to know more, he will give you more. If it's according to his will. I am sharing with you a dream that he has given me today. But it was very special to me. But it can be encouraging to others out there. How close we are. how close we are to the things that are coming, to more fulfillment to be fulfilled. More of his words will be fulfilled. In the words, it talks about the 144,000, the remnants, being gathered. It describes them as the first fruit. At the end of the day, the point is, there's a group that the Father will use in the end of times to bring a great harvest. As he says, pray. Pray that you may be found worthy to escape the things that are coming. Pray that you may be found worthy to escape the things that are coming. We must pray. We must pray. We must pray. Change will continue to happen and unfold in front of our eyes. And we must be ready at all times and not get distracted by things. The Father will allow us to understand things according to His will and according to His ways. I am sharing with you something deep, personal, but at the same time, encouraging to others. It was a beautiful dream with many symbolical meanings behind it. May Elohim bless you guys. Keep seeking the Father. Keep learning so much in regards to Him. Meditate in His Word. Keep His Torah. Learn about His feast days. Keep His commandments. Keep His Shabbat, His Sabbath, holy. For it is a sign that He gives to His children. It is a sign that He gives to us that we are His children. It's His mark on His children. I will link the verse where you can find that information. I'll link it below. But guys, this dream was even out there than all the other dreams I have had. Like the way it looked, the way it was, everything was so different. Everything felt different. Everything. I literally felt time not existing in this place, but this amazing peace, trying to learn, wanting to learn, this eagerness to learn how things were just being downloaded to my thoughts. So even though I did not see my Father present physically, I could hear His voice within me. I could hear His voice in the air itself, like if He was right next to me. Nothing could, it's not like physical, everything physical, nothing. How can I express this? He is who He is, like He says, I am who I am. Meaning He is everything. He is everything. There is no words. There is no explanation. It is truly, as He says, I am who I am. Because there's nothing that could describe Him, how amazing He is, guys. I only wish I could describe this dream like how it felt, but it's so undescribable because it didn't feel like a dream. Even the way it looked, even the way my vision wasn't even like, it's like I was allowed to see what he wanted me to see and no more. That even if I wanted to see further, my eyesight could not see further. Do you understand? Like I could see that there was something, like everything else was clouded. Everything else was clouded, but I could see what I needed to see. It was amazing, guys. And I wanted to share with you all. I hope that this dream could encourage someone. That it speaks to them. Change is coming, and we must be ready. No matter what happens, we must stand up for truth. We must stand up for truth unto death. We must stand up for truth. The Father is truth. Many will be tempted with so many things down the line. So many temptations. So many obstacles after obstacles after obstacles. Before I even appeared at the barn, I remember fighting so many obstacles of many different kinds. But standing firm to truth, standing firm to the word. Keeping our eyes on Yahusha HaMashiach. May Elohim bless you.